Hello everyone, this is Jyoti and I hope that you all are safe during this time of pandemic. I am uploading this video after a very long time. I apologize for that. But now as the new session is delayed and everyone is trying to learn the courses before time, otherwise we all will get busy in completing the syllabus. The biggest problem my friends are facing is that they have to do the complete course of Python for just completing the 11th 12th syllabus. So I am here to help you with that. Today I'm going to begin with the first unit of Python syllabus in the 11th 12th CBSE schools, that is the Python fundamentals. So let's begin with that. The first thing we need to learn in the Python fundamentals is the Python character set. So Python character set or any character set is a group of letters or signs which are specific to a language. Now as you can see, the statement defines particular to a language, so there are many characters at present. But when we talk about a specific language, in this case it is Python, then the sets become a bit different. So in Python character set, the set which include the letters is the capital A to capital Z set and the small a to small z set. These two are considered different. That's why they are specifying that the capital A to Z are a different set of letters and small a to Z are a different set of letters. Now coming to digits, the digits are obviously from 0 to 9. You will form the numbers using these digits only. There are many special symbols like the exclamation mark, at the rate, hash. You can use anything in this, underscore. So anything which is not in the digits and letters set comes in the special symbol set. While naming or any other coding part of the language, some symbols are allowed to be used and some are restricted. We will discuss about it later, but the special symbols in this character set are also the same. Now coming to the white spaces section. This is something new to learn. In the white spaces section, we not only include the blank spaces but also the new line which comes from the enter button and then the tab. Basically that's the 5 spaces that we take from the tab, etc. So anything which is not actually visible as a symbol, like the rest 3 sets, come in the white spaces section. So this is the complete Python character set. They give you just simple questions like name the letter character set of Python. Then you have to write 2 sets, capital A to Z and small a to Z. The next unit which talks about tokens. Tokens is the smallest unit of any programming language and it is also known as the lexical unit. So like in learning English, you begin with the ABC, that the alphabet. So in the same way, whenever you begin learning a programming language, you need to know about the tokens. So now token consists of 5 subunits. These are the keywords, identifiers, literals, operators and punctuator. Let's discuss about them in a brief. So basically keywords are the reserved words which have some special meaning. So these words are first of all reserved by Python language. That means you cannot use it in your own way. And moreover, they provide special meaning to the words. So they provide special meaning to the words. So like if we used to use the word is for any other purpose, as you can see they change in a different color, that is orange in the Python environment. So this means that now is a reserved word and you cannot use it for any other purpose. It has some special meaning in Python and it will serve as its own function. Similarly, if you see that we had that for, we used to use for some other purpose, but now it is a keyword which means it will have some special meaning and it is reserved by Python language and you cannot use it in your own way. So in this way there are many keywords in Python. You can identify them by this color change. If you write any word and it changes to orange, which means that's a keyword. If not, then it's not a keyword. So like if changed into orange, which means it's a keyword. Similarly, else is another keyword, and in this way there are many keywords. Okay, now coming to identifiers. Identifiers are basically any name. So this is used for naming purpose and this is any combination of letters which is used in the user's way. For example, if I am coding a particular program and I need to name a variable, so I can name it like myvar. So this is a kind of a name and this will be called as the identifier. as it is not a keyword, which means it is a user created word, and that's why it will be categorized as a identifier. There are certain rules related to identifiers, like if I name anything like A1, so this is allowed, but if I name anything as 1A, then that will not be possible, because there's a rule in identifiers that all the names or the words should begin with an alphabet. So we'll discuss about the rules in the next section. Basically, if you talk about identifiers, then it simply means that you have named anything in Python. Now next comes to literals. So in literals, basically these are also referred as constant values. Anything that's categorized as constant in Python comes in the category of literal. For example, there's this word pybox. So this is something specific to Python. It is a constant which cannot be changed. So pybox is a constant. If I talk about the number 10, it's a constant, its value cannot be changed. Then pi is a very famous constant. So we cannot change the value of pi. That means it comes in the category of literals. Operators. So operators are basically those symbols which actually leads to some actions. For example, if we just discussed about plus, as they come in the category of special characters, but whenever you use the symbol plus, it simply adds and gives you the sum of two numbers. So 2 plus 3, this is a simple statement, but the symbol used plus is acting like an operator, and it's triggering some action, and it is giving me a result 5, which is basically the sum of these two digits. So any symbol which leads to a particular action and change in values and the results is categorized as operators. Coming to punctuators, these are used to construct the program. So whenever we will divide the program into subunits, like if I want to say there's a function, so I'll use the symbol parenthesis, which will act as a punctuator because it will show the start and end of a function. Similarly, in any statement block, we'll use these opening closing brackets, which will tell you about here's the statement begins and here it ends. So in this way, there are many other punctuators, like we use colon as a indentation parameter. So all this will be categorized as punctuator, which don't trigger some action, but actually they help you to construct unit, which is data handling. The first thing in data handling is the data types. So whatever information is given to you, you can call it as a data. And then in what type it comes is the data type. For a simple example, if I talk about bottle is a particular object that I have with me, and I'm asking you its type. So now if I ask you to pass me a bottle, you can pass me any kind of bottle. That could be a plastic bottle, a glass bottle, a metal bottle, etc. But if I specify that I need a plastic bottle, then there's this particular data present to you, and I am also specifying its type. Then we are referring to a particular category of values. So in the same way, when it comes to data type, one format in which data can be given is the numbers. It can be of the form 12, 34, 56, like this, or it can be of the form 9.8, 7.6, 5.4, etc. So these are two different ways in which one can provide you data. And if it is of the form integers, these are all integers, then the data type will be int. So as you can see, it is a data type and also a keyword, as it have a special meaning. So the data types changed to purple color in the Python environment. In this section, these are all decimal values. These are also a particular number, but in specific they are decimals. So for that we have a different category and a different data type, that is float. So whenever you are given some numbers, if it is of the integer form, you will say that the data type is int, and whenever you are given a set of numbers which are in the decimal format, you will categorize it as float. The second type of data type we have is the string. So the anything made of the alphabets, which means the characters, will be categorized as string. So string is nothing but a group of characters. For example, if I use the name Jyoti, so in this we have used 5 characters, and all these alphabets are clubbed together and they form a particular word which has a meaning, and this will be known as string. So if anyone provides you a data which is in the format of name, address, Anything else in combination of letters, you will say that it is of the string format. So anything else like the pybox word, this is also information or data, and it is not of the numbers form. It is comprising of the alphabet and the special symbols also. If I write 1 2 3 here, it doesn't make any difference because it is combined with the alphabet, so this becomes a string. Next come list. So whenever we join or we club the numbers and the alphabets or a particular set of data together in these square brackets, then it is known as a list. For example, if I say that my roll number is 6, then my name is Jyoti, and okay, anything else, any data like my age 15. So in this way, if we write down this, then this is a particular set of data which belongs to a particular person. But as these values were interrelated in some or the other way, I clubbed them together. So this collection of values is now known as a list. The property of a list is that it is editable. In programming, when we can edit anything or change its value once it is created, then it is known as mutable. So lists are mutable, which means once you have created it, it's not like that you can change this value. While you're coding, as and when required, you can change this 6 to 16. It will be allowed, means it will be permitted. I'm saying this because tuples are also another kind of grouped data. In this also I can write the same information, 16, Jyoti, and 15. But if now I want to edit that and I realize that my roll number is not 16, it's 6, and I want to change this to 6 now, then it is not possible as it is a tuple, because tuples are immutable, which means both of these values, list and tuple, are collection of a particular data. But the difference is that lists are mutable, which means their value can be changed, and tuples are immutable, which means you cannot edit the value once you create a tuple. We'll learn about these two later in very much detail because they are separate independent topics and they are very important in Python language. Now coming to the next type of data, it is dictionary. So in dictionary we use these opening closing braces, and in this we use a key value, a key and a value. For example, if I am writing ABC123, then I write XYZ colon 789. So these are two different values. The first thing, the value written before this colon is called the key, and the value written after the colon is value. So it is like key value pairs. Like in a original dictionary, we found the word and the meaning written in this format. In the similar way, here the first column of every particular data element is key, and the value written after the colon is the value. So if I want to refer to ABC, then the value returned will be 123, which means consider ABC as a word and its meaning is 123. So ABC is my key which I'll use to get its value, which will be 123. So in this way, when we make key value pairs, a value referring to another value, then these pairs will comprise a dictionary. So these are the data types that are to any other theoretical section. Let's do a program in which we learn how to accept values from the user. So first of all, in accepting values from the user, this is the heading, and I have used a hashtag here. Basically, this is a comment. Whenever you want to write anything extra other than the coding part, just to provide some information to the reader, then you use this hashtag, and this hash will allow you a single line comment, which means anything written in this line will not be checked or evaluated by the compiler or the interpreter, which means this will be visible to the person reading your code, but actually it will not be executed as a line of code. For this will be a hidden, this will be hidden from the compiler but visible to the person who is reading your comment. So in this way you use a single line comment. When you have to write multi-line comments, then you use these triple quotes. So anything written within these triple quotes will not be compiled or evaluated as a part of the code. So in this way you can comment. So this is what is written in the first line, accepting values from the user. This is the heading but not a part of the program. Now coming to the coding part, first of all I have written a equal to. So I think that's pretty obvious that this is my variable name. This is the variable which will take the value that will be entered from the user. As you can see, I have not specified any particular type here. That is because the input function, it is a function which helps you to take values from the user. This function always return the value in the string format, which means anything that will be entered by the user will be in the form of a string. Even if the user is entering 12, then this will not be taken as the integer 12. It will be considered a combination of two different letters, 1 and 2. You cannot add these values, subtract, or do any integer operation on this, because if it is entered by the input function, by default it will be a string. So here is the message which I have written in the input bracket. Enter anything. Now I have to enter any particular value, like if I enter Jyoti, then the message Jyoti will be printed here. Now in this code you can see that the only thing that is visible into the output screen is this part, that is the prompt given by the input function to the user, which says that you have to enter a particular value. The user enters the value, it is taken by the input function and then assigned to the variable a, as I have equated that particular thing to my variable a. Now a variable has the particular value, any value, a string, and then in the next line I am saying print. So print is a function which prints any particular value on the output screen. So by using this function I am printing the variable a's value onto the output screen. If I want to show anything else, that let's say I am saying this is your input, this is your input, and then I am writing the variable's name a, then I have to use the plus symbol, as you can see here. But this will be possible only when both the things are of the same type. As you can see, this complete thing is also a string because it is a combination of characters, and the variable a is also a string as the value entered is using the function input. So now if I run this code, so I am writing here, I am learning Python. So this is my string input, the message. This was what is written in the print bracket, which means this is my message and this is what is the value entered by the user. So this value may be varied, but this is the message which print function is displaying over here, and this will remain the same every time I run the code. This is the code. Subscribe to my channel. I'll keep updating you with the new content and the new languages that are coming up. First of all, I promise that this time the videos will be regular and I'll try to complete the 11th Python syllabus as soon as possible in this lockdown period only.